Mob Entertainment just released a new trailer and a new gameplay trailer for their upcoming project, Project Playtime. In this video, I will cover both trailers as well as going over all the stuff in the Steam page, covering what the game will be, what will be in the game, and also some tertiary things I would like to talk about. So let's not waste any more time and just get into the analysis. Starting with the cinematic trailer, there's not really much to analyze here. It's more just a showcase of the general concept of the game. And one of the big things that is immediately noticeable is that the players in this cinematic trailer are actually given proper models, instead of what seemed to be the placeholder models from before. Though in-game, sadly, they will revert to the placeholder models for a more cartoony look. But for the cinematic trailer, we actually get to see what players would look like in-universe, being this hazmat suit type look with the grab pack. In this shot with all four of them, there's also the toy machine deposit we saw in the previous teaser. We will talk about this later, but one of the important things of Project Playtime is the main game mode, Toy Collection, which has you collect pieces of a big toy that you must put together. This is shown in the trailer by the green player looking at a Catbee toy. The green player then notices a small Huggy on the ground. He picks it up, and it immediately starts to set out an alarm. This is probably one of the traps one of the monsters can set up that will alert the monster to where the characters are. One interesting thing about the player characters, especially green in this close-up shot, is that it has the same flower with an eye symbol that was shown before this gameplay trailer released. Now, this could be the insignia of the type of worker they are, which we'll talk about in a bit. Huggy eats the green player and starts to chase the rest of the crew, grabbing the red player and instantly eating them too. Then we get a feature that seems to be unique to Project Playtime, where the players can grab a door, pull it down behind them, and trap the monster behind them so they can escape more easily. We then get an arrow pointing to the train station that's highlighted, which is to hint to us the main goal after doing all the tasks in the game. The main goal is to head to the train station to escape the monsters. Of course, sadly here, blue player gets destroyed by Mommy Longlegs, killed off screen, and yellow player does make it to the train. However, a new friend is waiting for him. Say hi to the new monster of this game, named Boxy Boo. And as simple as that, the yellow player is killed off, and we get a title screen, along with the release date of December 6th. Overall, this little cinematic trailer is a great introduction to Project Playtime and Puppy Playtime in general, really. And it's really nicely animated as well. I guess that's what happens when the developers have an animation background after all, so. Though sadly there was not many secrets hidden in the background, at least any I could see automatically. But overall, a great introduction. Now we must switch over to the gameplay trailer. So at the beginning of the gameplay trailer, we have this train that flies past quite quickly. This is the same train from Puppy Playtime Chapter 2, though it's much more extended and actually looks more like a train now. On the side of multiple carts of it, it says Playtime Co. Fast Freight Services, which implies that this version of the train from Chapter 2 is actually a train that delivers the toys from Playtime Co. to other factories. At least that's how I interpret it. There's also another part of the train that says 60 years, which is 60 years after Playtime Co. is originally created, giving us a good timeline of when this takes place. There's also art on the side of all the toys we know of so far on the side of it. Leith Pierre describes our job here in Project Playtime as a resource extraction specialist, which is fairly interesting to hear, as it implies that Playtime Co. are trying to retrieve some of the items they lost when losing the main factory. At least that's how I interpret it. There's a lot of interpretation with this trailer and stuff so far. But going to the first shot of gameplay, we get this huge main area room that has a gold Huggy statue with one puzzle nearby and what seems in the background to be a gold bronze statue. You have a welcome area, some tickets for the place. If I have any speculation of which map this is, I would think it's the theater map that we'll see more of later. But for now, we have this little shot showing the main plaza. Speaking of the theater area, the next shot we have is of the main theater itself, with a Huggy cutout that seems to indicate that some performers would come out of Huggy's mouth. As well as you can see another one of those puzzles, as well as a Boxy Boo cutout next to the stage. On the top part of the screen you see the main objective, collect toy parts, along with a secondary objective called find puzzle pillar. Now I don't know if these little puzzles here are the quote-unquote puzzle pillars, or it's referring to something else. We can also see the main objective on top, along with the time. Our main objective is collect each piece of the cat bead toy. We'll talk more about the objective-based missions in a bit. We seem to have a small ability that's labeled by the letter R. Now, I don't know if this could be a dash or anything, or a roll, but whatever it is, it seems to indicate a rush forward at the very least. In the corner you can see your player name, your grab pack, and the amount of health you have. Now I don't know if this means lives, as in you can revive 3 times before permanently being sent to spectate, or it's just general health where you get attacked by the monster 3 times you die for good. It's hard to tell. In the background in the balconies you can see these odd little objects that are covered in Huggy arms. We actually get to see these objects later in the trailer. These are hiding places for the players. I'll talk about more of those later in the trailer. Now the next part, we're 6 minutes into this game, and we see indicators showing where the other toy parts are while we're holding one of the toy parts. And it seems like the team has already collected at least one of the toy parts, which the side objective says find toy deposit. So this indicates to me that the puzzle pillars will give you the toys, and then after you get the toy, you bring it to the toy deposit and send it in. And once you do that, that's another part of the objective done, and you have to find 4 more in this case. We get a shot of another area, which was shown in the ARG images, that I don't know what it could be, but we can see another part of the puzzle pillars here as well. We then get a shot of another piece of gameplay, which shows that we are collecting Candy Cat toy this time. Along with the main image being shown is a Porta Lounge, Employee Mental Health Retreat, which acts as a hiding place for players. So, in this example, they are hiding from Boxy Boo. And it seems to have the same effect of Miracle Stations from Bendy, where it doesn't seem like the monsters could get in, but I could be totally wrong with that. Because I doubt players wouldn't be able to know where other players are if they just ran to a locker. So it's likely that the locker can't be openable by monsters. In the next gameplay shot, we get to see a whole group of players along with a lot of their cosmetic skins. What's interesting is that a lot of them have very interesting little alternate looks to them. Some look like robots, some look like regular business people with the player heads, the other looks like a construction worker, and then we have the base yellow player. In fact, it looks like you can change how the grab pad looks as well. As with the player we're following currently, they have chains instead of the usual grab pack rope, which is fairly interesting. There seems to be even more alternate skins, though if I were to just cover the skins, this video would be 30 minutes long. So just to cover the other things that's interesting, it seems at the beginning of the game you get to see how many people are alive, as well as who is with you. But besides that, it seems to be part of the same theater map, though this time you're coming from the other side of the stage rather than coming down from the top. The next shot we get to see players messing with the puzzle pillars, as well as a boogie bot construction in the top. So it seems like all the smaller toys that aren't big monsters in the main game are the collectibles you are looking for. We then switch views in this scene to a player playing as Huggy. Huggy has the abilities we were able to look into through the files of Chapter 2, being a grab hug and a Huggy toy trap. Though it looks like the buttons are slightly wonky here, as shift is off the indicator and the indicator is not big enough, so hopefully they'll fix that. For on Huggy's side, we get to see what his tasks are. One is leave no survivors, and the side mission to get to that mission is find a survivor. You also get to see on the other side how many toy parts are collected. What's interesting about this shot as well is that it seems to indicate that these puzzle pillars have 3 sides to them that have a different puzzle to them. And to be very effective at them, you need 3 players to surround each side of the puzzle pillar. Though doing so, obviously shown by this clip, will cause the monster to have an easier set of targets. Next shot, we get to see what seems to be the new monster selector that's heavily upgraded from what we saw in Chapter 2. First showing us Boxy Boo in action. Then we get the shot of Huggy in his chamber, which in the Chapter 2 files, he had a much relaxed stance, but obviously in this version, he's much more aggravated. We then have an indicator that says help solve the puzzles, which is hinting further to that thing we saw previously, where the puzzle pillars can be worked on by 3 people. We then get a shot of Mummy Lies also in the character selector. And the next shot in gameplay, we see her using her ability to fall down on people. from high places because of her spider-like abilities. We also get to see Boxy Boo in action as well, from his point of view this time. Though what's funny, it seems like this comes from an earlier developer build because in the corner it says primary objective, secondary objective, implying that at that point when this part of Boxy Boo was being recorded, it didn't actually show what the objectives were yet. However, what's interesting here is that the player's footprints are outlined as they're running away, and other pillars are also outlined to help the monsters find the objectives that the players are heading towards. Now with this, it actually kind of reminds me of the Gmod game Murder, if you ever played it. Basically in that game, similar to this, the player's footprints would light up for certain roles. So that's probably the same here, and why the monster is able to see it as well. In this shot where we see this other part of the theater, we get to see some huggy and kissy costumes, which is an interesting background detail, implying that in the theater, each play had the huggy and kissy missy as the main participants in each play. Obviously people in costume, not the actual characters, but you know. In the corner beneath the objectives, there also seems to be a glowing indicator from one of the players, indicating to me that there will be a voice chat feature. Now, it could be in proximity or a general voice chat, but we'll see. The next shot here is pretty interesting as it seems to be implementation of Wacka-Wuggy from Project Playtime Chapter 2. Though none of the mini Huggies seems to be colored uniquely, sadly. At least in this current build we're looking through. The next shot simply has Mummy Longlegs hanging above the players as they walk into a specific area, and Mummy Longlegs falling down to attack them. The next couple shots are a huge compilation of shots from different parts of the gameplay that I've already covered. Though there's one interesting part, which is what I mentioned in the cinematic trailer, where the players can pull down the doors from behind them and trap the monster out from where they're going. Then the final shot of the trailer seems to be the main player here, trying to escape everything in the last minute of time, as the main objective changed to board the train instead of collect the toys, and one of the indicators say to wait for the train, which our player is trying to run towards. But sadly, he won't get there. And we get our first look at Boxy Boo's jump scare. And that's it for the gameplay trailer. Now let's quickly go on to the Steam page. The Steam page here is pretty simple, has some screenshots which I'll show as I read through, as most of it is just repeated shots from the trailer as well as just showing off some more cosmetics. The header of Project Playtime is simply the name, the factory map background, and Boxy Boo in front. Here's a short summary of the game. Project Playtime is a free-to-play multiplayer horror game where 6 players attempt to create one giant toy while surviving a terrifying monster that roams the toy factory. A 7th player controls the monster and is given only one goal: find and kill everyone. And before we go into the main description of the game, it is here where we find out this is an early access game, saying that this game is not fully complete and is getting early access to get input from players outside of it. Let's go over each question the developer answers, asking why early access is necessary. Why early access? We want players to be able to access this entire new project as soon as possible. Through this, we can make the game better together. Approximately how long will this game be in early access? We are looking for a fairly short early access period, initially releasing the full game in the first half of 2023. How is the full version planned to differ from the early access version? Many exciting new features will come with the full release. A complete story and an additional map are a headline feature. With this, we also want to add more purchasable items such as cosmetics, perks, and sabotages. Beyond that, the final game will boast a quality of life improvements such as better performance and UI. What is the current state of the early access version? The current state of the game offers around 8 perks and 8 sabotages, as well as 3 different playable monsters and 2 fully fleshed out maps. Our story is introduced, but not playable in full just yet. Will the game be priced differently during and after early access? No, we're excited to say that the game will continue to be free to play. How are you planning on involving the community in your development process? We would like to have an in-game ability for players to report bugs. With that, we aim to continuously watching for player feedback and suggestions on all platforms, such as Twitter, Steam, Discord, etc. The most important feedback is yours. Going to the main description, we have this. Can you hear us? Welcome to your job as a resource extraction specialist here at Playtime Co., the largest toy company in the world. You've been assigned to a special unit responsible for extracting giant toy parts from closed-off areas of the factory. The parts are locked behind cryptic puzzles and guarded by freakish monsters that have taken over these once magical locations. Retrieve the parts, avoid any kind of contact with the monsters, and most importantly, don't die. Can you see this? Prepare yourself for 6v1 battle for survival. 6 players will take the role of a survivor. Together they must solve puzzles and forge together a toy of epic size, all while trying to stay alive. 1 player will take the role of a monster. There are several characters to choose from, all offering a unique set of skills used to catch and kill their prey. Give us a sign. The Grab Pack. Survivors wield a powerful tool known as the Grab Pack. With 2 long extendable arms, you can do almost anything, whether it be carrying a heavy object, grabbing something from far away, completing puzzles, or gripping doors to slam them shut in the face of the monster. The Grab Pack is more than capable. Manic Monsters. As a monster, you have 3 distinct characters to choose from, each one a living gargantuan monstrosity based off a Playtime Co. toy. Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and newcomer Boxy Boo all offer their own unique sets of abilities and unique styles of play, whether you wish to be a manic brute with Huggy, quick and nimble with Mommy, or a spring hunter with Boxy. There's a monster to fit the bill. Sabotage. Monsters will always want the element surprise. Using toy trinkets, which can be earned by simply playing the game, you can purchase and upgrade new abilities called sabotages. These allow you to get the jump on players and use these to blind the survivors, booby trap their paths, destroy their grab packs, and so much more. Fear Factory. Playtime Co. is the king of the toy manufacturing industry, and you're inside it. Explore 2 massive maps that features many different sections of this crooked factory. A state-of-the-art theater with statues of fake gold and a manufacturing area where toys are aplenty. Better and stronger. Survivors won't be limited to their default abilities. Stretch further and build your own class with perks. You can purchase and upgrade perks with toy tickets, in-game currency. With these perks, you can be whatever type of survivor you dreamed of, be it a puzzle master, or medic, a speed demon, or shadow walker. Whatever you want to play is covered. Looking good. Want to take the look of your character to the next level? Project Playtime's offers a rotating shop with new cosmetics constantly, and a seasonal toy box, which offers 100 levels of cosmetic glory. Look fantastic as you fight to survive, or if you're the monster, look fantastic as you rip everyone apart. Project Playtimes has lots to offer, and much more to come. Won't you play fair? The biggest boys need to prevail. We will prevail. Stay alert. We will be in touch. Overall, the game sounds very interesting, though I do have some issues with the whole thing of the toy tickets. Like I said in my previous video talking about this, please don't make these purchasable by real world money, and just use, as you said earlier in the post, only getting these toy tickets in-game. Don't do a Battlefront 2. Don't do it. Don't make those purchasable. Don't make the toy tickets purchasable, because that would legitimately cause so much problems. And I don't want this franchise to be in more drama. But besides that huge point of distress, overall I think this game looks crazy and great. Especially with all the little cosmetics you can get, because a lot of them look pretty cute and adorable, as well as pretty cool and flashy. And it seems like you can customize your players any type you want. It implies there's cosmetics for the monsters, though we haven't seen any, or at least any obvious ones, which is fairly odd. But overall, both maps look interesting, though I worry that people might get disinterested with only 2 maps that exist. So hopefully that next map in the full game release will come quickly, or at least you add more stuff to the maps that make it interesting. And a story mode sounds interesting, as I thought this would only be a multiplayer game. But I guess there will be some sort of story mode, which I guess will connect to the lore of the base game. After all, we had the ARG, which was all about the story of Rowan Stoll, so I guess it makes sense. But we'll have to see how much this adds to the universe of Poppy Playtime. But overall, I am really excited about this game, and similar to what I'm doing with Bending in the Dark Revival, expect a lot of shorts that are based off this. Though sadly I won't be able to play it on release date, but it should be fairly close to when I am able to. Remember, the release date for Early Access is December 6, 2022. So hopefully this will be good and no microtransactions exist, but that's it for my video. Click here to see my analysis of the previous announcement, along with a bit of the ARG, which will get its own video at a later date. Goodbye guys!